Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. Halfway's there. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Radical Geek YouTube channel. This is our daily vlog on what I ate today, and I am also sharing a game a day so that you can start planning your holiday fun for your geeky friends. But today, let's talk about my meal number one, bacon. I mean, who doesn't love bacon, especially when it's absolutely perfect? It's just like that right in between. It's crispy, but also still got a little bit of chewiness to it. And then I also have a little bit of butter here to go with my, I don't know what to call them. They're not really like crepes, but they're crepes-ish. They've got a little bit more of an egg flavor because instead of the egg whites, I use the whole eggs. But you can see they come out. They're nice and flexible and very, very soft. It's 3 eggs and 1 scoop of gelatin. 1 scoop is basically a shade under a tablespoon. It's 10 grams unflavored beef gelatin. I grease my griddle with butter, and that's how they come out. They're fairly neutral in flavor. When you use the whole eggs as opposed to egg white, they're a little teeny bit eggier. But honestly, the flavor is very neutral, which is why I like it with the bacon, because you can kind of have that together. And I just think that they're a nice little play on something different, a little different shape for your eggs, so you're not eating the same exact thing every single day. You can use it like a pancake or in a crepe, so you could crisp it up and use it with some ground beef for a taco. It's very flexible. And it's literally just eggs and gelatin, so you've got a nice little bit of fat there. Well, of course, in the butter that you're using. So you can easily, it's very simple ingredients, really, really good for you ingredients, whole foods, the whole 9 yards, nothing extra special about it. Oh, and I made myself a gigantic fat coffee. It has 1 egg and a teaspoon of MCT oil in it. I went for the big one this morning because I really wanted a nice coffee, so I'm having my Tankerdo coffee. It's pretty good. I kind of admit that I missed the butter in it, but I've already got a lot of butter to go with my egg crepes. So, and then it's the right texture and feel. And then I have a sparkling mineral water, which was just plain sparkling water, and I put a teaspoon of the KetOH-IO daily minerals. So just a little bit. I'm having like a big boost this morning. I have a couple of really intense meetings, so I thought this would be great. Perfect. So that's what I'm eating this morning. I have a fun game to share with you a little bit later, and then we'll do our meal too today, and we'll be done. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye. Hey everyone, so it's time to talk about game of the day. Today I have Star Realms. Now, this little deck box is way bigger than the original start pack of the game. You need to usually get 2 full decks because it's 1 deck per player, but we love this game, so we buy all of the expansions and pick up the promos and get all of the extras. You don't need that, but it is a nice to have. But the game is what's called a deck building game. It's a 2-player game. There are times where if you've got enough decks going, you can play in teams of 2. But what you are doing is everyone starts with a basic hand of 10 cards, which are very, very simple. You have money and attack. Sorry, that glare didn't work. I have them in fancy sleeves to protect my cards. So you start with money and attack. Your goal is to take away all of the points that people have. You start with 50. I don't have 50 in my hand here, but you've got 20, 10, and ones and fives that make up your points. As you play, you are pulling from your hand, and in the center there are various cards you can buy. So you have ships, and the ships come in 4 colors. So there's red, there's blue, and green, and yellow. Now, each of these factions, that's what I'm going to call them, have different abilities. Reds are usually cards that you want to add to your deck because it'll help you discard some of these original basic hands so that you don't clutter it up. You can always tell what kind of special ability it has at the bottom. In this case, this one has attack, which is red. It costs coins. Remember those first parts that I told you to buy it. Yellow is usually attacking or special cards. In this case, this one makes your opponents discard a card. You have some that tell you to draw extra cards, so you get more things you can do during your turn. Greens, they're similar to the yellows, but they have usually higher powers that allow you to do things to some special cards I'll show you in a second. And blue cards are very powerful because they usually give you more of the of your base points. Your I forgot the word all of a sudden, but anyways, so these are the ones that you're going to buy. In the center row, it's populated with stacks of these cards, and it refreshes each turn. So as people buy them, new cards go down. There are hundreds of cards, and they are always constantly changing, so no 2 hands are ever the same. And you would basically, you go through and you play these cards, and you're trying to take away these awesome points. The first person to go to 0 is obviously the loser, which sounds terrible, but it's a lot of fun. I mentioned these are your ships that go in your hand. Sometimes in the middle deck, you come with these landscape cards. They're still in the same color of the factions, but they're sideways. And the reason is because once you buy one of these cards and it comes up in your hand, you get to set it aside and it gets played until someone attacks it away. It has special symbols down at the bottom that tell you how many attack points it's going to take to defeat them. It'll make a difference too whether it's a solid shield or an outline shield, but we don't have to get into it that much. But they each have special abilities of their own that give you some major advantages, and because it stays out, it's sort of like getting an extra action in your turn each round. You also have the opportunity to buy these explorers, which are like upgrades to your initial deck cards, and they have multiple things. You can do 2 actions on it, so and then you can discard it and trash it, so they also don't clutter up your hand. I know it's not a real clear definition, but I promise you that it takes like 5 minutes to get the hang of it, and not much longer to start developing what kind of things you like to do to make your hand a little bit more powerful, or how you want to play with other people. It's super fast, and so each turn you take 5 of your cards out of your deck, then you look at it, and that's what's going to determine what you can get to do. Like, for instance, I drew 5 monies. So I would look at the middle deck, and I would be like, well, I have 5 monies, which means I can buy 1 green card and 1 blue card. Or I don't have enough to buy this one because it's cost 6 monies. But I could buy this 3 and this 1 and then not worry about my extra money. And all that would get shuffled. At the end of your turn, you gather it all up to your discard deck. That's right, you have a discard pile, and you draw up 5 new ones. When you run out of cards in your draw deck, you take everything and you shuffle it up and you make yourself a brand new draw pile. And so it keeps cycling. And then each turn, as you buy things or as you uh, trash something, which means you get rid of it forever out of your hand, your deck continues to evolve and you get more and more powerful, which allows you to take away these points from the other person. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I know the instructions aren't super clear when I'm just talking about it like this, but it's a very fast-paced, very easy to learn, and very easy to play sort of game. It's also not very expensive. Now, you can spend quite a bit of money on it if you do things like I do, which is to buy the fancy sleeves to protect your cards. Like if I pull it out, see there's the actual card. Um, you can get play mats for it. You can buy special boxes so that you can store all of your stuff in one or two boxes. There are lots of things you can do. You can buy coins to replace these cards. You can do all kinds of fun stuff to really start dressing it up. And those are all things you don't have to do. You can simply pay just a teensy bit to get your 2 decks, and then you have tons of fun. So that's why I recommend Star Realms. And it is also one of those things, just like I said about the Love Letter or Forbidden Island gateway games. You get something like this, it's super easy to pick up and learn and get a handle of that kind of mechanic, which means then you open the door for other deck building games like Dominion, which is very old school but also very, very popular and a really good game to play, especially if you invest and get lots of the expansions. Um, Ascension, which we'll probably show because it's also a really simple game too, but it's in that same genre. It's a deck builder. Marvel deck builder. Uh, Actually, it also has some DC in there too, but Marvel DC deck builder, they're both kind of mixed together. I'll show you those. Actually, it might be DC deck builder, but I digress. But there are a lot of games, and also one of my very favorites is Thunderstone by AEG, and that is a much more complex deck builder. But like I said, you start with these, the easy peasy fun, slap all the cards down, and you've played this for a while, and then it's a lot easier to take the jump into one that requires a few extra steps within it. And if nothing else, it's a great game if you are just like very casual, if you're like a card player and you haven't made the leap to other board games, jumping into a simple deck builder like this, it moves fast, it moves quick. You're more familiar with this kind of constant shuffling and things like that. So, uh, highly recommend it. It's a really great game. And if you go to conventions where they play board games, you'll often find Star Realms uh, doing events and tournaments, which are all very simple because it's so much on luck of the draw. So you have a good chance, but that's where you can do things like find these deck boxes and get them as prizes. Same things for the play mats. So it's a lot of fun. I really recommend Star Realms. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Here we are at meal 2. It's a strip steak and 1 piece of toast with butter. And yes, I put a little pat of butter right on the steak. It's a perfectly medium rare, leaning rare, and I'm very happy for that. So I will see you a little bit later. Bye bye.